Good morning, friends! Welcome to the Simple Joy community and our live video this week with Danielle Roberts. We are going to chat with her about rest and abundance and purpose. She's a certified life coach and author and speaker. Good morning, Danielle. All right, let's see if we can figure out how to get you on here. Adding. I'm a little new to some of this technology. It seems like it's continually changing on me and surprising me. So let's see if we can get this to work today. Looks like it's going. I hope everyone is having a wonderful morning and a wonderful week. It's been really nice here actually, which is fabulous. All right, good morning.
Hi.
It's so good to see you. All right. So today we are chatting about things that you talk about, rest and abundance and finding that kind of purpose in your work and figuring out, what your unique place is and what your calling is and kind of how you figure that out. So I want you to just share some of your background, tell us a little bit about yourself and the kind of things that you do in your work.
Yeah, so first and foremost, I'm a wife. We've been married. My husband and I have been married for 9 years. Um, so it feels like forever. I guess when you get that get that far, it can. And we have 4 kids. So our oldest is 7, and then we have 5, 3, and 1. Um, I recently got certified in life coaching. Before I was a life coach, I served a number of clients as a virtual assistant and a online business manager. Um, so I learned how to run a business online. When I started my business 4 years ago, I was like, I'm going to be a business coach. And then I was like, well, I should probably learn how to run a business first.
Sure.
Um, so that's just been a journey in and of itself. And along the way, God has taught me a lot about resting and um, being just in a place of rest and how much our bodies need that. If you're not a Christian, not a believer, it's there's so many different ways aside from the spiritual aspect that we need rest. And so we I feel like we just get caught up in the hustle and the bustle,
Yeah.
and here in America, it's all like, let's be productive, let's do more, let's do this. Um, and so I have created kind of a pathway or a mission to allow women to rest and to allow themselves to rest, and that's by knowing your priorities and knowing your values, and then walking in the rest so that you can live out what your values and your priorities are.
That's awesome and so needed because, like you said, we do live in a world that pressures us to just do, do, do. And I once heard someone say something about how we are human beings, not human doings. And that really was just like, oh my gosh, how often do we focus on all the things we have to do instead of just being? And I love that. That
Yeah.
like we have to like live and walk in that place of rest. Um,
Hmm.
Otherwise, we're just hustling all the time and we never get to enjoy it, and we're going to be exhausted and feel really burnt out. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone who feels like they don't have time for rest?
I would ask them what it is that's creating the busy that's not allowing them to rest. Because oftentimes I think we believe that we're busier than we are.
Mm.
Yes, we have a lot going on, but when we're in that place of rest, or when we've taken the time to rest, we're actually more productive. Because if you think about it, I'm going to just use the Pomodoro method for a second. Pomodoro is you work for 20 minutes and then you do something else for 10,
Okay.
and then you repeat that. Or you can do like longer time periods. But you are able to concentrate better and do more work if you're doing the shorter spurts. Because when your brain is maxed out, then you're not able to do your work and fully concentrate during that time. So if you think about somebody that run, and they're not giving themselves that time to pause and to rest and relax, then really honestly what they're doing is they are running their brain so far and so hard that they're not able to do their work really well. So that's why I think it's better to take that time to rest. And that's, I think we also need to look at what rest actually is because we need to define rest in a different way.
Mm,
It's not just sleeping. It is, taking time to read, taking time to go for a walk, taking time to laugh with your kids
yeah.
or hang out with friends and grab a cup of coffee. Like for me, that's really restful. It's what refills my soul. And if you think about like what rejuvenates you,
Yeah.
um, we start looking at rest in a different way. So if people are doing things that are like burning them out and not taking that time, like to, if it's sleeping or taking a bath, or I just seen in the group somebody was taking Epsom salt baths.
Mhm.
Like for me, that's restful. If I can grab a book and go hang out in the bathtub for a while, like day made.
Yeah.
But really just prioritizing ourselves and our time so that we know how we can get rest and then just enjoying that.
I love how personalized that can be with those different suggestions that you mentioned because then it doesn't have to feel like your version of rest has to match someone else's version of rest. But it can be whatever, like you said, is rejuvenating for you because that's going to be different. Like, I'm personally not a bath taker, like, that's just not my thing. But if I can sit down and watch an episode of a show, or even better, if I can carve out like half an hour to read a part of a book, I'm just going to be so happy that I like had time to sit down and stop all the other things and read for a little bit because that feels like such a treat. And I know tons of people
Hmm.
that don't like to read, so like that wouldn't feel cool to them. That would be like, oh my gosh, someone's making me read. This is the worst. So it's
Yeah.
great to know that like it can be personalized that way, and that it can be that simple because some of those things can fit into your life in smaller pieces. Instead of like you said, just thinking that it's like sleep, and people don't think that they have time for like a 3 hour nap. Like
No,
you might have time for like a 10-minute walk. So yeah, it just
right.
makes it more
Hmm.
accessible, which I love. So how do you do that with like a family or when you live with other people, or like how do you teach your kids how to do life with rhythms of rest?
My husband and I decided that I think it was like a year ago, we were going to do just one day of resting. And it was actually his idea, which was perfect because I was like, this is not something that I have to try and force him to do or like, hey, honey, let's get on board. Um, so our routine is kind of um, throughout the week if we go on walks, like now that it's nice out, of
Mhm.
course. Um, so we'll go on walks. We'll go to the library and just like it's quiet, it's peaceful. Um, my kids also love books and reading. So we'll do different things here and there throughout the week. Or if the kids are napping, like sometimes I'll just take a nap or that's gonna be like my quiet time.
Sure.
Um, and then we do Saturday, we're doing a big clean. So we do the laundry, we clean the bathrooms or the floors or the kitchen, whatever it is. And then Sunday, we really take that day and we just don't do much work. Um, I cook, which sometimes it's fun, sometimes not. Like there are days that I'm just like, hey, let's grab some chicken or something.
Yeah.
Um, and so we've really taught our kids like that's our rest day. And they know now that we've been doing it. And kids really, really love patterns and they love rhythms
Mhm.
and routines um, because it gives them what to expect.
Mhm.
Like if you think about it as a kid, they don't get to control a whole lot. Like we control a lot for
Yeah.
them. And so if we set the example, and if they know, well, this day we do this and this day we do this, it's easier for them to expect that. So
Mhm.
they'll spend time in their rooms reading, or we'll go for walks, or we'll go to the park, or play a game or something with them. And they always like watching YouTube with their dad. Um, and so that's, that's also how he relaxes. It's not how I relax, but that's they like to cuddle up with him and do that.
That's awesome. Was that something that came pretty easily once your husband mentioned the idea of taking some more time for rest, or was there some trial and error in there?
It's really, really hard for me to rest.
Okay.
Like that, I'm very I'm very like go, 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 and my brain is constantly spinning. But it was something that we had to practice, and so I often recommend just taking an hour or a half a day, or kind of one of those things where um, you're allowing yourself to practice and to learn before you
Mhm.
take a whole day, because it's not easy to not do much work. And then especially being a business owner, I'm constantly wanting to work on my business, or I know that I've got other stuff to work on that I could be spending time on. So it's really discipline. Like you have to discipline yourself. But I've noticed my most productive days and my most creative days are the days that I have taken time off ahead of time. Or like
Mhm.
at the end of a Sunday, I'll have like all these blog post ideas or all these things that I want to share that I'm like, man, I couldn't have come up with this if I hadn't stilled my brain and allowed myself time to be creative.
That's awesome. Yeah, the benefits of rest are just like multiplied when you get time for it. It's so great.
Yep.
So you mentioned when you like plan your rest ahead of time. So are there things that you do or like encourage other people to do to kind of prepare for some of those longer periods of rest?
Um, I would say it's good if you know that you've got stuff that's going to be coming up. Um, to definitely do those ahead of time so you're not feeling the burden of having to get them done ahead of time, um, or getting them done during that day. If it depends on like what you enjoy for resting. Like some people really, really enjoy cooking and that's their rest. Um, that's not me. So I try and like do simple meals.
Okay.
Um, or, if you really enjoy cleaning, like that's also not me. Um, so I think if there's things that, if it's going to be heavy on their mind, like things that they want to get done or things that they have to get done, like my husband will work on Saturday afternoon so that he can clear his queue and he knows that he doesn't have work that he's going to be doing.
Okay.
So things like that and kind of just looking ahead.
Yeah.
And then um, part of my day too on Sunday is taking time. It's usually at night taking time to look at the week ahead. So I know what's coming and I don't have any surprises or anything. Um, but then that also is restful to me because then I'm not worrying like, oh, what do I have going on this next week?
I like that because it also gives us permission to use planning as a way to kind of like quiet our mind and find that kind of like mental rest. Because I know, like, I'm a
Yeah.
huge planner, but I also tend to think that like my planning is doing, which kind of like conflicts with a lot of the like rest. So I usually try to like rest and like put off the planning, but then there is that kind of anxiety where you're like, okay, but am I ready for the week? Like, do I have everything figured
Hmm.
out? So that's a really interesting concept. I really like that kind of incorporating that, looking into the week and feeling prepared for it, just taking a little bit of time to kind of prepare as a part of rest, not something that's like taking away from your rest. I like that.
Hmm.
That's awesome. So how do you deal with things that come in and kind of like threaten your rest? Like if you plan a day to be restful, like at home with your family,